What's up, everybody? It's Cass. I'm here in San Diego. I have a video for you all. Just going to elaborate on a recent video that I posted about leading with the hip. Here is a little bit more content into how I see the best players using their lower half, some things that you can be doing on your own to acquire some of these skills, but at least have a better picture in your head of what you're trying to accomplish when you're going into your stride through your throw as a pitcher. So hopefully this is some helpful information. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you're in the San Diego area and like to train with me, I work out at Canyonside Cages up in Miramar. I do hitting, pitching, anything that you want to work with. You just have to email me at email me cksoda@gmail.com. That's CKSOTA@gmail.com. Please enjoy this video. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from all of you. What's so critical is how we get in and out of our leg kick. Okay, so the first thing is understanding that good throwers are creating forward movement as they peak their leg kick. For example, this is Adam Lucas. He's a junior from Evansville, Indiana, and throws upper 90s. And if you pay attention to what his hips are doing, this is really common of high velocity throwers. Hips are moving forward early in the motion. As he's peaking his leg kick, hips are moving forward and down. This is less common in amateur throwers, and he does a great job showing us what it should look like. So as they get to the top, they're going to start shifting inside their back foot. Okay, a lot of youth pitchers who are taught to balance point will get stuck and they'll start moving, but everything goes down. So they're just sitting and not actually creating forward momentum. So the best throwers, as they are peaking their leg kick, they're shifting inside their back foot. Aroldis Chapman is another great example of somebody who moves their hips down the mound early. Right? How do we create this hip lead? We get our center of mass moving. So the problem with coming up into the top of your leg kick, peaking your leg kick and not moving forward yet, is you tend to start separating out of sync. Get your center of mass moving down the mound as you peak your leg kick, and your hands, your arms, your legs, they start syncing up because they have to. So quit getting to a balance point. Start moving early and often, but know how to do it. Know how to stack the trunk on top of those hips. Watch the best do it and copy them. Maintaining those positions? How are you getting farther into the stride, and how are you sitting into your back leg? Okay, so from the side, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for sideways movement, okay, forward movement into the leg kick, and then I'm behind, I view balance not as this, but as this. So as I'm moving down the mound, can I stay centered in my back foot? Am I creating flexion that is equal? Do I have too much knee bend, not enough hip bend? This is really common for young players don't know how to load their back hip. Okay? Is it too locked out? Do I just see kids leading with the hip and not having any flexion in the knee? Right? To give you an example of what some professional guys are doing, I have front view and rear view, and just notice how everything stays in line. And I'm not worried about the shoulders being turned away. I'm just noticing how everything sits over that back foot. Now, when I say that from this angle, you have to remember what I had mentioned before in the side video of they are moving forward through this. So I'm saying they're sitting over that back foot, but they're not because they're moving forward. They're just keeping everything in that foot. So from both perspectives, we see that flexion in both the back hip, back knee, and obviously the back ankle, and they're holding that really late. So we have to recognize this is right 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5 frames before foot strike, they're still holding it. So if I reverse it, let's call this foot strike right here, and I come back 1, 2, 3, we still see that has lots of flexion. The back heel is still anchored into the ground. These are really common characteristics of good lower halves in the big leagues. And it is really uncommon to see this at the younger levels. We should see these compressing at the same time. So as I'm taking them out and I'm teaching them to lead with their their hip, or I always say their front butt cheek. So I say the only thing on the wall should be the left butt cheek. Now I'm challenging them to take it farther and visualize where they are. Because obviously my leg is coming out from under me. But I can't do that when the wall's in my way. So I'm getting to a certain point where I don't get anything else out of this drill because I would have to open up and my left leg would have to come out from under me.
Just to clarify, this is what I mean by at some point there's an end to how far you can use a wall to work on your back leg. So this is that point. The front leg is starting to come out from under him. It's going to open up, so it's come out in front of the the front hip. So really, we're only just focusing on what happened before this. So we back up. I could put myself onto a wall right here. What does this feel like in my back leg? I could do this position. So as I'm getting farther away from the wall with my back foot, right, I'm really only focusing on what that feels like up until this point where the front leg comes out from under me. If I want to work on what happens now I'm going to be doing drills like rocker throws with a stride, something that focuses on that last movement. If I wanted to focus on what happens from here to here, I'm going to do things like separators and pivot picks, potentially even something out of power position. One more time just to clarify, I mentioned something about the left leg coming out, stopping the wall drill from being effective. That's this point. So you can't practice on a wall what happens here. So you're only practicing that first half of the stride.
This trains that first half of the stride of how to keep the left hip in front without it being too exaggerated, because I actually need to move somewhere. So I can't be sitting back too much if I'm not really good at moving down the mound. Are there throwers that lean back a lot? Yes, but I challenge you to look at how far they move down the mound when they're doing that.
Here's an example of Alex Wood sitting back really hard. Can it work? Yes. It helps when you're a big, athletic human being. He does a good job actually getting down the mound, but we just don't want the front leg to get out from under us early, and that's what happens. So you're going to see a lot of flexion in his front leg. Does it block? Yes. Does it go into extension like you see somebody like a Justin Verlander or a Chris Archer? No, and a lot of that is because the trunk is stuck back right here. Okay, so this hard sitting can work. Lots of things can work. It's just not the most efficient way for you to get going down the mound, and we see that in some of the positions that he's at near foot strike and throughout the throwing part of his motion when that front leg does not firm up like we see really, really efficient throwers do, right? So you're not going to see a guy like Marcus Stroman moving like this because if you're not a large human being with long levers, it's a lot harder to create ball speed when you're not moving early and often, creating momentum in your throwing motion throughout the stride.
A lot of youth athletes do not move down the mound very well, and the best aren't sitting back here. They're typically right on top. The head is right on top of the back hip.
Notice how Nolan Ryan's head sits over his back hip as he strides down the mound. It's not stuck behind. We saw Wood's head stuck back. If any of that was confusing to you, understand that you're trying to see the throw in two different phases. We're trying to see it in the stride phase and the throwing phase. Stride phase is everything before your front foot hits the ground. Throwing phase is everything after your front foot hits the ground. We specifically were focusing on the first half of the stride. So before that moment before your front foot, those moments before your front foot comes out from under you or that front leg crosses your front hip are the most critical in my opinion because they positively or negatively affect what happens into the throwing phase, which is after front foot strike. So there's the first half. Here's the second half. Right here, that's the throwing phase. Front foot hits the ground. I turn to throw. I'm going to be doing things like pivot picks, separators, power position to work on throwing efficiently once I get here. But if I get into this position and I don't look like this, right, it's probably because what I did here wasn't very efficient.
Hey, thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you have any questions on any of the concepts that I was talking about here,
shoot me an email. My email is cksota@gmail.com. That's cksoda@gmail.com. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, cksoda_baseball, Twitter, cksoda, and subscribe to my YouTube channel by searching my name, Cass Kreitlow. I have a ton of free content on all of those platforms. So follow me, reach out to me, ask me questions. I would love hearing from all of you. So thank you very much for watching. You guys have a great day.